If you're an artist, at some point you will want to get your art out into the world publicly. Having your work in a public art or gallery show is vital for making a name for yourself. In today's podcast, I'm going to share with you 6 steps on how to prepare for an art show. This is a step-by-step guide, including the materials you may need along the way. Welcome to The Creative Push, an intimate and diverse artist interview series. Here, artists and makers of all kinds share tips, advice, knowledge, and inspiration that you can learn from. I'm your host, Sheri Oneal, a photographer, artist, writer, and educator. This series is a part of the Learn and Create platform to help artists further their education in creativity, art, and business. How to prepare and display your art in an art show. Step 1. Review the show guidelines. This sounds pretty basic and like common sense, but a lot of times people don't really read the fine print. Carefully read the show's guidelines for size restrictions, hanging methods, framing specs, and presentation requirements. If you know the requirements, it'll save you time and frustration later on when you show up to set up your work. Make sure you pay attention to deadlines, especially entry fees, any meetings for the show when you're hanging the show. You don't want to be late or miss those dates. Step 2, select the artwork for the show. Choose a single piece or cohesive selection of work that represents your unique creative style. Consider the dynamic of your audience and choose work that will be compelling and offer a lasting impression. Consider your art choices based on the details of the display space and the show's theme. In other words, think about what your intentions are for the show and choose something based on what you hope to accomplish. As creators, we need to be passionate about the work that we showcase, what we want to continue to create over time. You need to consider who your audience is and whether it's sellable. Turning something you love into a business is very different than just creating artwork. Showing work in a public show is your chance to make a lasting impression, so make your choices wisely. This is one of the hardest things sometimes for people to separate their personal love of an art piece versus what might be more compelling to their audience. So put some thought into this. I would recommend choosing maybe 2 or 3 pieces of art and just kind of sit on it for a couple days and think about who's going to see this work. What do you think they're going to enjoy the most from your work? And is it really a good representation of what you want to do and continue doing down the road? If you want to maintain a sellable business of artwork that showcases your talent, you don't want to get bored really quickly. You want to make sure it's something that you can be excited about creating every week, every day, or if someone wants you to do a commission piece of work, is this something that you're willing to spend a whole month doing? Consider that before you choose one piece for a show or several cohesive pieces. Step 3, prepare your artwork. Consider creative ways to present your work that make it look professional and appealing to your audience. Base your prep on what you feel works best for the type of medium that you're going to showcase. Photos and artwork are hung with weight-appropriate wire to hang from a single point, meaning you have maybe a hook on each side. You're going to want to go ahead and install that wire that connects those 2 hooks so that it's easy to put a nail in the wall and hang from that one point. All of your work should be ready to display, meaning hardware ready for installation and complying with whatever the art show restrictions are. Some possible art prep materials, depending on the medium, would be a soft cleaning cloth, frames, matting, plexiglass, wire hanger, D-rings. Make sure that you use a protective varnish or clear coat on photographs so that someone's moving them around, they don't get smudged, especially if they're inkjet prints. You don't want fingerprints. Also, frame pieces should have secure backing and hanging hardware. I have a whole list that are in a blog. The links are included in the show notes. All of this is pretty self-explanatory. Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope you're enjoying The Creative Push. It sure would help if you'd consider supporting this podcast with a small monthly donation to help sustain the work and time it takes for me to produce future episodes. You can click the support button or you can click the link below in the show notes. Any support is greatly appreciated and you can cancel at any time. Either way, I'm glad to have you here. Please subscribe and share. Now let's get back to the show. Step 4. Create an art label and a title block of information. You want to create your printed art label and title block in advance of the art show and secure the art label attached to your artwork. Also, if you sell that item, you want to make sure that your information is on that artwork. And you're going to print an art label with your name or the artist's name, the artwork title, and the contact information. That label needs to be attached to your artwork so that it does not fall off, either taped or on a sticker. Then you're going to print a title block on cardstock with an easy-to-read font. This is where you add in bullet points or in short lines of information with proper spacing. This title block will have your name or the artist's name, the artwork title, but it will also contain the art medium, the size of the piece, and the price if you're selling that piece of art. Be sure to proofread everything. Then on an 8x10 sheet of paper or smaller, depending on if there's show guidelines, consider including a short artist statement or bio to display for inquiries. This is where you can also put a photo of you or any pertinent information about you as the artist. And I love that modern technology also allows us to put a QR code for linking to your website. You can add that onto either piece, preferably your bio sheet. Bring branded materials, especially if you're going to be there at the show, meaning business cards or contact information. Again, that QR code makes it easy. If you don't want to deal with that, people can just scan that QR code and it'll take them to your website. But it's not a bad idea to also have some kind of branded materials that you can give to someone if they're a fan of your work. Think about how you can keep those people in your little universe. Another idea is to consider having some sort of an email sign-in sheet. You could probably create a QR code for that as well if you wanted to. Some people bring a piece of paper or a little booklet that people can sign and put next to it their email address so you can add them to your email list for later shows or for any kind of sales of work. Pricing artwork is a difficult process. If you aren't sure what to charge for your work, talk to other artists. Consider the value of your work based on the local market, your expertise, and the time that you have invested into that work. It's up to you to determine and to establish a final price, but you also want to know what your local market is for particular artists in that market. Having that network, having that foundation in relationship with other artists is really going to help you grow because you guys can kind of throw things off of each other and find out what are they selling their stuff for, what are they dealing with. It really kind of helps to have a network of artists that you can talk to about establishing pricing and just business in general. Step 5 is actually hanging your work and presenting the art. Being prepared for the unknown is very helpful if something goes wrong on an installation day. Some of the items that you might consider depending on the type of medium is hooks, screws, anchors, other hanging methods, maybe a hammer, pliers, super glue, a level, pencils, measuring tape, printer's tape for marking placement. If it's sculpture or something similar or textiles, you might want to bring pedestals, stands, drop cloths, presentation tables, batteries, lighting, extension cords, step stool, ladder. All of these things are things to consider. I always have a little toolbox that I bring, but you can also ask before the show what is available to use. I did find a clip-on booklight LED that lasts a really long time and it puts out a lot of light. If you don't have a lot of good light, you might want to consider bringing something like that. Again, it just really depends on the type of space. The biggest thing is the presentation of your work is really important on how it is organized and displayed in the show. Balancing the symmetry of your art when you're hanging it or grouping it and making sure that everything looks professional, that people can truly see the detail of your work and the beauty of your art. Step number 6 is the day of the art event and the final touches. You want to double check everything to ensure that your artwork is secure, the labels are attached, that the presentation is neat. Dress appropriately and be approachable to answer questions about your artwork. You want to socialize with the audience. That might be the difference between making a sale or finding a new follower. Network with the other artists and the show organizers. Have fun and share your passion with the art community. If you follow these steps and really prepare for your show, you'll be ready to showcase your talent at any art show and make a lasting impression. I hope that you found this information helpful, and if so, I would love a thumbs up. If you have any other tips, please share them in the comments. And again, if you want to see some of the links that I included on Amazon of the clip light or the picture hanging options, there's links in the story. That link is also in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. As always, my intention is to offer inspiration that excites you to want to get out there and create something amazing. Be sure to check out some of the other episodes. There's more information below in the show notes, including links to other great stories, tips, and resources. Drop me a message or comment at any time, and I hope that you'll sign up to be a part of this creative tribe.